The Hunted is the new set for Flesh and Blood coming out in January 2025. I'm going to give you my first impressions on what I think of the product before we really know anything about the product. We've seen the product sheet, we've seen a couple of preview cards, but I want to give you my extrapolated viewpoint on what I see for this product. Now, the first thing to note, if you look at the product sheet, man, the product sheet for all these products are really nice. It says the MSRP in USD is going to $120, and that's a little bit of a jump. If you look at Rosetta, the previous set, I think it's $109.50. This one's $119.50, so it climbed 10 whole dollars, so basically $120 per box. That's a pretty big shift, and it's interesting how Legend Story Studios over the years has crept up that MSRP number because the prices of these products need to go up due to inflation and economies and whatever have you, but that is just something to note. Of course, not everyone's going to be paying the whole $120 a box. You probably find it cheaper depending on different stores that are selling it, but it's just an interesting data point where the prices increased by a 10 whole dollars. It's a good amount of money. Now, there's rumors out there on the interwebs that there's like some printing error where there's not enough product out there and not going to be as much product on release compared to other sets. I don't know if I was hearing some bad rumors, but if those perpetuate in January 25, the best thing I could say, man, is just chill the fuck out. Like, Legend Story Studios has always produced enough product for everyone to get a hold of, around release weekend. Like, of course, the first 2 weeks of release, there might have not be a wide amount of product, but over time, the 2, 3, 4 months after a product's release, everyone's going to be able to get the product. So if there's verbiage like, hey, I had to increase my price because there's not enough product available, it's like, simmer down. It's not going to be as bad, and I think anyone who's promoting that logic statement is a little bit far-fetched. Like, unless Legend Story Studios is pulling some like random new type of logic in the future in 2025 that we're printing a lot less. But I don't think that that's happening because, of course, they want to have all the players out there get an equal opportunity to receive the cards to the boxes. They don't want to print a new product and like siphon the print run, right? So any rumors out there that the product isn't out there as much, yeah, I wouldn't read into that too much. So just wanted to address that, as well as like Legend Story Studios. They may print like a huge allocation, but only put out a very small subsect in the first 3 months or 6 months of release. I hope everyone knows that. LSS is very smart on trickling in the product into the market over the course of a full year and a half, right? They trickle and trickle and trickle and trickle in. It's smart to do that because if they didn't, they just dump it all into the market and stores would lose money. The cards would not have as much value and it would just be a cluster, right? So they've been very smart over the last 4 years, I would say, in trickling it into the market over a given time frame. So any rumors where it's like, oh, there's not enough, simmer down. It's all good. Everything's going to be okay. Now, one of the big things that I have noticed with this product is it seems like there's two sides talked about in the product sheet. Are you going to be a part of the assassin team or the friends of the emperor that are pissed off that he died side? So you're seeing these two sides. And what I'd say this is, right, is a new form of lore where you're simplifying the lore for the sets. Think about Rosetta, the last set. Are you Team Earth? Are you Team Lightning? Right? These two sides are battling. Pick a side. That's the lore. Same with this, right? The Hunted. Are you the hunter or are you the hunted? Are you the Emperor's friends who were upset that he died? Or are you the team assassin, right? And I like this because a lot of individuals don't have as much time to get into the specific lore. So they know it's there, but conceptually they don't want to deal with like getting into it. But if you have a one sentence, easy peasy thing to say is, The Emperor died, there's Assassin team, there's Emperor's Friends team, pick a side. They understand that at a high level instantly, right? You don't have to like go on like huge tangents and paragraphs explaining the lore and the backstory of all these characters. It's pick a side. Assassins or Emperor's Friends. So I like that we see this simplified lore emerging from Flesh and Blood and Legend Story Studios in, well, I guess this is the second set in a row that it's had a feature like that. I like that. It's smart, it's intelligent, and it gets people in the door, right? A foot in the door. And then you think, okay, well, how did the Emperor die? And you have these questions, or, why did the assassins kill the Emperor? Then you look into the stories, then, it raises the initial question, it gets your beak wet, but then it allows the individuals to, once everyone understands the basic lore, people who are then curious guys will dig in and figure out what they want to, right? So I really like this concept that's emerged from Legend Story Studios. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the art direction. Now, for Rosetta, I will have to admit, I am wrong. I thought that Legend Story Studios is moving more towards a lower age demographic to like the 12 and 14 range, and this set really proves that entirely wrong, right? This is a very dark theme, like black and red, which are really legit colors. I love those colors, and it's probably my favorite color if you haven't seen. But overall, it does seem like they're not totally focused on a super young demographic, which is great to see. Now, however, even though I was wrong on that, right? I was wrong on that, theory. I still think the art direction after Rosetta is going to have a little bit more, not cartoony art, but more just, not how the art was for Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising, Crucible War, and Monarch, right? That had a very distinctive art feel that was like, it was like an old fantasy with a dabble of darkness, right? This is more like a focus, more of fantasy, more catering to a younger demographic, I think, which is good, while still encompassing the old Flesh and Blood art feel. The art direction, I feel, has changed, but I think it's changed for the better. And I think Legend Story Studios is really focusing on that 18 to 20, 25 demographic. And that's what they need to be focused on. There's a huge market there that I feel is not tapped as much as it should. The market above 25, like 25 to 35 to 40-year-old individuals, I feel like they've really captured that side of the market and done a great job. But below that demographic, 18 to 25, that's the sweetness that they really need to encapsulate. I think Rosetta did a really good job at focusing to that younger demographic. I hope that those individuals also appreciate The Hunted, right? Because it's a little bit more edgy and darkness, and you're probably going to see a lot of flesh and a lot of blood in the artwork, which is great, which I love, but hopefully it resonates with the larger market out there. So I think that that's everything that I want to cover. The last thing I want to say is the Haven Game Store, which is the game store near me. I have a link down below. They sell single cards. I highly recommend anyone buy singles on release. Remember, it's the constant vibe. When a set is released, the card prices are up here, and then 3 weeks to a month and a half, card prices decline for the most part. There's some situations where people price the card wrong in the beginning, but most of the time, just wait it out, man. There's so many cards. Like I'll say, what is it? 12 petal Kasaya. I pulled this. I didn't sell it. It was a bad idea because the card price went down. Oh, what is it? This was in Part the Mistveil. So this was 2 sets ago. And now it was like $150 on release, and then I don't think too many sales were at that point. But then it went down to like, I don't know what it is, $50 or maybe 60 something around that range for the extended art version. So learn from my situations. Is sometimes on release I hold on to the cards longer than I should, and you just hey, that's a good time to sell. But then if you're wanting to buy certain cards, it's always good to just wait it out, man. But when you do, There's a great game store online, like I said, the Haven Game Store. I'll have a link below in this video and most of my videos that go straight to their store. I don't make any ad revenue or whatever. I just love those guys. They're great guys who run that business there. And I buy from them all the time. It's great. You have stuff shipped wherever you are in the United States. So there's that plug. And also life advice. But overall, I think this set is going to sell very well. You know, rambling a little bit on in the end. I think it's going to sell very well. I think the whole theme and going to Volcor again, which was surprising to me. It seems like we're doing a second lap around Wraith here. You know, we just went to Aria, now we're going back to Volcor. I guess next set is going to be the Pits or that one. Metrics. The Pits or Metrics. We'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm interested to see how well the sales do on this one because I think just the whole theme overall is really, really cool, and especially the assassin class, and I think they're doing some really cool stuff. So I'll leave it off there. Thanks for watching. Cheers, man. Have a good one.